Hello everyone, I'm doing a voiceover of a flawless platinum I just did, and I want to explain certain things that I did. First and foremost are my consumables, as you just saw. I went with weapon damage over weak point damage because it is infinitely more consistent. The reason being is while you can get up to 100% weak point damage, you're not always going to hit the enemies at their weak point. Whereas if you go with weapon damage, you can get up to 70% if you take the assault rifle amp equipment, a level 4 ammo type, and a level 4 weapon booster. You can get up to 70% weapon damage, and that applies to both body shots and weak point shots. So that is infinitely more consistent than anything else. I also shot those two explosive barrels at the bottom, one on the outside and one in the room, because I often find myself in those areas. And when the enemies spawn in, very often I run into this room to get closer to them so I can start killing them faster, sooner. One of the upgrades I have on Flak Cannon is its burning damage, so I don't have to shoot them to kill them, I just do to kill them faster. The main reason I chose a Havoc for this particular speedrun is because she has flak cannons, which allows you to stun almost every single enemy type against the Remnant. The only enemies that it does not stun are the Hydras and the Destroyers. But it does apply its burning damage. If you take that upgrade to every single enemy type, it does 800 damage over 8 seconds, which on Platinum is not a lot, but some damage I suppose is better than no damage. And right there you can see that the Disruptor ammo applies one stunning effect, and Incinerate applies another stunning effect, which means you can stun certain enemies for longer. Right here I had some trouble getting onto the roof. A piece of advice is that whenever you kill an enemy on a boss wave, you immediately run away. And that applies to pretty much all objectives as well. And I shot that nullifier just to get some burning damage off. The burning damage is not enough to kill a nullifier, but it still does a substantial amount of damage, so they're easier to kill when you get back to them. The reason I walked up so close to the Destroyer is because that is one method of opening its chest when they just spawn in, but it didn't work, so I had to use the second option, which is getting as far away from them as possible, which means that they're too far away to attack you with its cannons, so that means it's much more likely to open its chest for you. I was very lucky on this boss wave because against the Remnant, boss waves are very inconsistent because half the times the progenitors don't even open their chest for you to shoot. And a piece of advice is to not even bother with the red observers because for some reason they don't even count as enemies, as you just saw. The wave is done even though it had 2 observers left, 2 red observers. So, just know that you don't have to shoot them. You should shoot them if they're too much for you, they're too overwhelming. But other than that, just ignore them, they don't matter. So right here, sharpshooters often come to the bottom right here or at the side of the landing zone, and you have to jump down to kill them, otherwise they will kill you. Fortunately, they're very easy to kill, and destroyers are very easy to kill, so you don't have to run away from them. Just be aware of that. You can consistently see me not running from them because of how easy they are to kill. Right here, I found myself in a rather precarious situation because I was surrounded by enemies on all sides. And yeah, that's how easily you can kill a destroyer, and that's why you don't have to run from them. For some reason, when a nullifier starts that animation of pulling up its blue screen, it does not get stunned, and I don't know why. They should get stunned, but it seems like the very animation itself protects them from getting stunned, even though it should stun them. So right there, I've noticed that sometimes the game cheats you, where flak cannon doesn't stun the enemies even though it should. And I shot that sharpshooter and it didn't get stunned by the flak cannon, but it got stunned when I shot it with the paw. That has disruptor ammo on it, so sometimes the game just cheats you. Now, retrievals are the safest to do, safest objectives to do, but they can take the longest. They take approximately 2 minutes to do, which is 30 seconds per retrieval. If you're lucky, some retrievals can take you 10 seconds or 15 seconds, but more often than not, if they're on the extreme sides of the map, it takes you around 30 seconds to do. Like this retrieval takes me around 30 seconds to do. Now this is the flawless platinum that I recently did, that I'm doing a live a post commentary on, and this is just very lucky of me, very fortunate of me to get this flawless under 20-minute platinum.
Artifact recovery is complete. Nice job.
I had a lot of luck in this game. This right here is an example of that luck. So this Hydra targets me and a breacher right there hits me out of cover, and I don't know how I didn't get killed. So when you're exploiting this Hydra spot right here, you should be very careful about it, because observers can still fly around and hit you. So you constantly have to worry about that. My method of dealing with that, dealing with, for example, the dogs or bazookas or creatures or whatever, is by spamming flak cannons. So on wave 5, wave 5 starts at 10 minutes and it ends at 14 minutes, because wave 5 against the Remnant consistently takes 5 minutes, 4 minutes, my mistake, to complete. I think I may have messed that up, but starts at 10, ends at 14, because it takes 4 minutes to complete. So on wave 5, you don't want to move from this corner at all, otherwise Jenny will wake up. And on wave 5, you will save that at the end of the round. As soon as I move, Jenny, wherever she was, immediately starts moving, which is just weird. But yeah, that's just an example of why you don't move from this corner, because as soon as you stray too far, she wakes up. And if you're trying to do a platinum in less than 20 minutes, it's pretty much impossible to do a platinum like that, because just dealing with her takes too long, alongside all of the other enemies as well. Now on wave 5, when I'm standing right here, I can't move to get my flak cannons, so I heavily depend on my ammo packs to get my flak cannons back. More often than not, I use 2, but sometimes, most times, I use 3, depending on how the enemies behave. So as you can see, as soon as I stepped forward, Jenny woke up and came towards me. And in some of my other playthroughs, even though I for example, jumped up on the roof right here, she didn't move immediately. And as I said on my boss wave, you have to pretty much get far away from her for her to open her chest. And that's why I jumped on the roof and ran to the other side. So the most consistent way of killing a progenitor is stripping its shields and using one RPG. And as I said earlier, you don't necessarily have to shoot the observers, the red observers. I did it in an attempt to get back some health. And wave 6 against the remnant getting devices is very difficult because of the berserkers. I got very lucky on this wave. I was fortunate enough to do all of the devices, but I'm not always so lucky. And when you're doing this device, you want to be sure that you're behind cover. That blue icon at the bottom of the screen appears. And this device, you want to be sure you're touching the wall, so the enemies have to walk up to you and get into the room to hit you, which should save you some time. And this is where the luck comes in. As soon as I finish the device, a berserker stuns me. And this is more luck right here. I took a full barrage, or most of a barrage, from a Hydra and landed on a destroyer. And thankfully I didn't die. And my flawless run was preserved. And right here you want to spam all of your RPGs or remaining RPGs at the Hydra to kill it as quickly as possible, because all of the other enemies are very easy to kill. The two destroyers that are on the field are by far and away the easiest enemies to kill. And yeah, I'll show you how and when. And yeah, that's how easy it is to kill the destroyers. Right here I don't move because I was checking the time to make sure I got a sub-20 game. And this is an example of what happens when you don't jump up onto the roof. As I jump up, they spawn right next to me, so I have to leave. So that's why you try to start around at the top of the roof, because they'll spawn right next to you. So when you're playing against the remnants, you can just leave the bosses alone. Killing the enemies are, well, it's just generally a bad idea, because they'll just respawn infinitely for this 2-minute period. So killing the bosses is pointless. I simply kill the dogs so I can stay wherever I am longer. And whenever the bosses get too close to me, I move. And this is something that you can do against the Ascendants when you're on the roof. You just jump up right behind that pillar, and you do that to dodge its orb, and the pillar protects you from the rest of the enemies. Right here, I shut off the Ascendance Orb just so that it won't attack me and push me out of cover. So for that 2-minute period, you want to stay on the opposite side of the map to the LZ, and then the last 20 seconds or so you run to the LZ. And there you go. For me personally, the Havoc is the most consistent character to get a sub 20 platinum with. The Turian soldier can do it, but it's just a bit more difficult to get a sub 20 with him. Although he stays alive very easily against the remnant, so that is something to take note of. And yeah, this was also my fastest time as well, 19:15. And thank you for listening to my post commentary. Enjoy the rest of your day.